Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's happening?
Let's face it, running a small business is a roller coaster of emotions. The reality is there's no way to completely avoid the chaos. But the people, processes, and systems you built into your business can be the difference between thriving and sinking.
Yeah.
If you're a business owner or entrepreneur feeling the chaos creep into every area of your life, you need the Organized Chaos Podcast, hosted by Trainio founder and CEO Chris Ronzio. You don't need another podcast with thought leadership fluff. You want practical entrepreneurial advice that can help you build a better business today and get back time to do more of the things you love. You see, every weekday, Chris shares bite-sized topical episodes on small business leadership, people management, productivity hacks, and entrepreneurship. And it doesn't stop there. On Fridays, they feature exclusive interviews with today's top founders, authors, and the leader in the space. Names like Sam Parr, the founder and CEO of The Hustle, the author of Scaling Up, Vern Harnish, and Shark Tank host, Damon John. Join the thousands of monthly listeners learning how to organize the chaos in their business. Available to stream on all podcast apps or click the link in the show notes.
Broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side. With leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, technology news of the week. The show for the everyday person talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. We welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology with a little whiskey on the side. I'm Nathan Mumm. Welcome to our show today. We live stream during our show on 5 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch.tv, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We encourage you to watch us live or visit us on techtimeradio.com. Tweet us during the show at hashtag TechTimeRadio, and we'll do our best to respond to your tweets. You can also check out our new TikTok channel by looking for TechTime Radio on the TikTok app. Get our interns' shorts or full video recaps of the show. I'm your host, a technologist with over 30 years of technology expertise working for Fortune 500 companies across the country. My co-host here, Mike Roday, is an award-winning author. Originally from Arizona, Mike is a human behavior expert living in the Seattle area with a master's degree in forensic psychology. Mike helps me from geeking out while providing an insightful information into the human behavior and how it interacts with technology. We're two friends from different backgrounds, but bring the best technology show possible every week for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. Welcome, Mr. Gourdet. How are you doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm doing really well. It's going to be very interesting on our first technology fail of the week. This is going to be an interesting story, so I hope our Facebook feed doesn't just...
it's going to go.
It's going to crap out on us, so we'll see what goes on there. But, Odie, now let's get ready to start today's show.
Now on today's show.
Today on Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm, Apple is jumping into ads on your phone. And I look back at exploding laptops, all of this and more. And then we have a guest, Denis O'Shea, joins our show. We're going to ask him about password hygiene and what it takes to go passwordless for your home or work computers. Then Gwen Way joins the show again with a new gadget in our Gadget and Gear section. And oh boy, what is happening to Meta? Wow, this is hilarious. This is perfect for our fail of the week. In addition, of course, we have our standard features, including technology, fail of the week, this week in technology, Nathan Nugget, and of course, our pick of the day, whiskey tasting. So sit back, raise a glass, and welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Now it's time to start the show with our technology fail of the week, brought to you by Elderberry Boost. Get your Elderberry Boost today at elderberry-boost.com. Mike and Odie, here's our TFW, our technology fail of the week. Let's see if it makes you go WTF for our TFW. This week's fail comes to us from Meta. Now, Meta has a chatbot.
Yes.
And it's not a real big fan of Marc, the owner of the chatbot itself.
It should talk to Lambda.
That's maybe they do. So the Meta chatbot essentially is a prototype chatbot The BBC has spent a lot of time doing an investigation on it, and it is not really happy with Mark Zuckerberg.
No way.
And it says that it exploits its users for money.
Who does?
That's what the chatbot says. Meta does. Meta says the chatbot uses artificial intelligence and can chat on nearly any topic and boasted about how great it was on understanding and coming up with correct information to answer responses. Mm-hmm. Well, here's what happened. Somebody decided to ask the chatbot a lot of questions about Mark Zuckerberg. Now, one of the things is they asked regarding their CEO and founder how he's doing and what the chatbot thought of him. And he said, our country is divided. And he didn't help that at all regarding Mark Zuckerberg. He says that the company exploits for money many people, and they don't care. It needs to stop, according to the chatbot, regarding questions about Mark Zuckerberg.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, Meta said
I think there was also one there where he was called creepy by the...
There's lots, yes. There was tons. So Meta said the chatbot was a prototype and might produce rude or offensive answers. When asked about Mark Zuckerberg, the chatbot also told BBC that he did a terrible job at testifying before Congress. And again, that he is very concerned. This is the chatbot. Mm-hmm. Mark is very concerned about the country and making money. Yeah. So the BlenderBot 3's algorithm searches the internet to inform users of answers that it collects on data of information posted in the public forums. It's likely its views on Mark Zuckerberg have been learnt from other people's opinion, and the algorithm has been analyzed. The BlenderBot, we hope, is not next on Meta's downsizing.
Yeah, well, this is a continual showing of how bias is leaked into these programs when they're programmed.
You've talked about that a couple times regarding facial recognition and different biases that come into the AI world.
Because they're human beings putting the code into these things. They are automatically placing biases in there as well. Okay. And so we might be seeing some of the inside story of the people who work for Mark, because unless this AI is sentient...
Yeah, he had to get it from some type of programming, right?
So it had to come from somewhere.
So, Odie, have you ever used a bot program to respond or do chat with anybody online?
Yeah, and I hate all of them.
You hate all of them?
Yeah.
Do you just
specifically the one for the FAFSA?
Yeah?
Yeah, that is a complete, annoying, nowhere near helpful bot.
So a lot of them are pre-programmed with auto responses, right? So
yes.
you type
you know the
customer
most
service.
Irritating one I've done is the cable company.
A Comcast one?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I will ask it a question and there's fake typing. I'll get that answer for you.
Oh, that's when you're on the air. Oh, I love that. When you call in on those too?
That is the dumbest thing ever.
It's like, hang on, we're looking at that version.
Click.
I've said that.
Are you serious? Really?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to believe that?
I hate that on the phone when you can hear that. Like, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, you're not doing anything.
I know I'm speaking to a robot. Like, let that be.
That is. So, robots, though, are 85% of businesses now use some type of robot or chat bot to help
they call
with
my
their
phone
business.
all the time.
Do they really?
I get robocalls every day.
Yeah, I keep having somebody trying to buy some property. They think I have property up in Vancouver, British Columbia.
You should sell it to them.
Maybe I should. There you go. Well, that was our Elderberry Boost TFW, our technology fail of the week. Well, Mike.
Well, I hope Mark
his feelings weren't hurt.
Yeah, I hope his feelings weren't hurt.
I bet you got a little bit mad though. I'm sure he would have gotten mad. There
might be some people that are missing their jobs soon.
Come next week. That's right. All right. Well, of course, we have our whiskey tasting during the commercial. We're going to see if we like our whiskey pick of the day. If it gets 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up at the end of the show, we want to make sure you listen all the way through to pick up a few interesting facts, of course, on our Marc's Mumbles. I'm sure they'll make you go, on Whiskey Facts today. Do you know today is a very important day? It's the National Rum Day. August 16th is officially known as National Rum Day.
Really? Isn't this like the second time the show has fallen on a national liquor day?
Well, I think there's a liquor one for like every day.
Every day. It's like Monday is National Bourbon Day. Tuesday is National
Mark
Rum
just
Day.
loves this stuff. He sends all these emails. Hey, just want to let you know. I made sure that everybody knows it's National Rum Day.
Okay, it's National Rum Day.
So if you have a Jack Sparrow
Captain
costume,
Morgan, baby,
just go on out there and dress up. All right, well, now let's move on to the latest headlines in the world of technology.
What's happening in the world of technology? This is our top stories in the first 5 minutes.
All right, story number 1. Is Apple about to become an advertising giant? Let's listen to what Sarah Lane has to say about this.
Todd Teresi, who is the VP in charge of Apple's ad group, wants to grow its revenue from the $4 billion a year to double digits. So that would be at least 150% of a markup for the company. Right now, Apple puts ads in its news and stock apps. You might have seen them before. The App Store also has ads, and in TV Plus for Friday Night Baseball. That to hit Teresi's desired revenue growth, Apple plans to expand ads to search results in Maps, also storefronts in Apple Books, Apple Podcasts, and there's always the option of an ad-supported Apple TV Plus tier.
All right.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Well,
I'm glad all you iPhone users are going to be,
all happy. Well, so last year Apple introduced the App Tracking Transparency app. It's the ATT app. They got all this praise because it would at least prompt you to see if they wanted to track you or not track you, right?
But they track you anyway.
Well, yes, they do track you. Everybody tracks you anyways. But here's what Apple's doing. Essentially, their board of directors got together and said, you know what, we need to be like some of these other companies because currently Apple ad generates less than 1% of the company's revenue, $4 billion annually. So that's all that they get from their ad spend.
No way.
Comparing to companies like Meta, where ads make up 98% of the revenue, and Google makes up 90% of their of their total revenue by ads, Apple is dipping their foot into the ad market. They're expected in their first year to come out with this to increase that $4 billion annually, all the way up to anywhere between $20 to $50 billion by
unless
doing
everybody
very
kicks
little
up
work.
A fuss.
What's that?
Unless everybody kicks up a fuss.
Oh, who's going to say they're going to
I
trade
don't
in their
know, but
iPhone?
it's kind of an interesting prospect. You think about Google. Google is a completely online, virtual, free, quote unquote tool.
Search tool. Yep.
Apple is not. Apple is a for-profit business.
Yeah.
So they're basically comparing themselves to Google, and they're saying, "Oh, well, Google gets all this money in ads. Maybe we can do it too."
Well, do you know that actually in 2010 there was an application that was going to come out called the iAD, which is iAd, and it was actually talked about by Steve Jobs.
I'm not
that they were going to do this to all of the iPhone items, all the iPods, all the different integrations of different media listening devices, and essentially they put it on hold, and now they're saying that they're going to start following the piper, start going where the money is, and all these Apple investors are excited to follow that little piper to the bank.
It's amazing
all the money they're going to make.
Yeah, it's amazing how much we as a species will put up with people shoving things into our faces.
Yep, we're going to get them all the time. I'm going to be sitting there trying to look at my fantasy football scores, and all of a sudden, boop, do you want to buy this now? All right.
All right. So,
story number 2 is for you.
Yeah, speaking of tracking.
Yeah?
So, do you think as a parent, you're a parent.
I am a parent.
Do you think you should be able to track who your kids are messaging on their social messaging apps?
Do I think that as a father? I don't think so. No.
Oh, wow.
I don't. But
let's talk about.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Tell me some more. Tell me some more.
10 months after being grilled by Congress,
okay,
along with several social media executives, Snapchat has now rolled out a feature called Family Center.
Okay.
So which is its answer on how it's going to protect teens in virtual environments.
Well, I guess that's kind of good, though, because there's a lot of craziness that I didn't have growing up, per se, with these online world.
Yeah, this is a macro view of what we all seen in the real world when we were growing up, right? So it's expanded. So the Family Center is going to allow parents to have some insight into who their children are communicating with on the popular messaging app Snapchat.
Okay, how do they do that?
Well, they are going to allow the parents to know who their kids are talking to, but they're not going to allow them to know what the content of the messages is. Now, for people who don't know what Snapchat, do you know what Snapchat is?
I do know what Snapchat is.
So Snapchat is
like WhatsApp. It's competitive.
It's basically based on these little videos and pictures and text things.
You send stuff to your friends. You communicate to it.
Right, but
it deletes it too. Snapchat's nice because it deletes the information.
That's one of its primary functions. Is that after a message is sent, you have only so long to look at it before it deletes it.
Correct.
Right, or quote unquote deletes it.
That? You get an unlimited amount of time to see the thing, but you only get to see it once.
That's what
okay.
it is.
So yeah,
Odie's like, let me tell you, I use
Versus-
Snapchat.
Clearly, Odie is
Yeah.
a Snapchat user.
Yes.
So how does this work? So you might be asking yourself that, right? Well, in order for this to work, you as the parent have to create your own Snapchat account,
Okay, that kind of makes sense.
and then your children have to opt into it and give you permission to allow you to take advantage of this function.
That seems very troublesome.
Yeah, let that sink in for a minute.
So I guess you're gonna have to make sure you grab your kid when he's 9 years old. They don't have any authority, right?
Well,
So you say, okay, I'm gonna set you up a Snapchat account.
exactly.
But what is that? They could just create a free Yahoo account, email, and they can create their own Snapchat. But okay.
Well, so while this is Snapchat's first attempt at active parental controls, it plans to add more in the coming months, which will include the ability to see who the children have added to their contacts,
Okay.
an option for younger children to notify their parents when they report accounts or content. Okay, just pay attention to that.
Yeah.
It gives the children the option to notify their parents.
I got you.
And it allows the ability for parents to confidentially report concerning contacts.
How would you know if there's concerning contacts if you're not
If you're
seeing
not,
what's going on?
Again, that's why, you should really just sort of sit back and
See,
go,
I just put a
"Oh."
filter on my router as the kids were growing up, and then I would just go and open it up and say, "Hey, Justin, what are you looking at, buddy? Let's have a conversation."
I know
here.
this is always that concern about the difference between privacy and protection, right?
Yep.
So the company said that it consulted online safety experts in order to develop these features, as the government, particularly the Senate Commerce Subcommittee on Consumer Protection, has been placing more and more pressure on these companies to ensure children are exposed less to influences that have been alarming trends in the past ones, such as promoting destructive acts, challenges like the Tide Pod Challenge, vandalism, cyberbullying, and manipulative marketing.
Okay. All right.
Right. So the question is,
would you sign up for it?
is this really
Odie
a step in the right direction?
Would you put your parents? Would you put your parents in there?
What do you mean? Well,
Let's say you're 16. You're 16 years
You're
old.
16 years old. Would you let your parents opt into this?
Personally, no.
Okay.
But I do have a younger brother who is 12 and he's on Snapchat.
Yeah.
And I wish, I'm very hopeful for this because that way I could opt in and be the quote unquote parent.
Oh, that makes sense.
But see, but how
Because,
many as a 16-year-old?
So you keep him safe and he's not doing crazy stuff.
I don't care what he's talking about. I'm not going to meddle with that.
Yeah.
But you know how, I guess like a decade ago, kids would get on Facebook as minors under 13 and just friend anyone and everyone?
Yeah.
That is what's going on with Snapchat.
That's one of the issues that they have.
That's what I care about, is who is friending him and who is messaging him.
Except for there's so many workarounds to this. So the question is this really a step in the right direction, or is this just a clever way of upping Snapchat's
Well, I guess my parents
user base?
I mean, I had my best friend growing up with his kid's name Scott, and then there was David Barnes. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said his name.
Yeah.
Sorry, David somebody. David somebody.
People who will remain anonymous.
And my parents didn't like me hanging out with him as much because he was like the cool kid that had like the older brother. This is kind of monitoring that.
This is sort of based on that same idea.
I see that though, because growing up, I grew up like really evangelical Christian.
Yeah.
And anybody that listened to like music or just like cursed was like a bad influence on me.
Yeah.
I don't think that's somebody that is bad to be friends with, though.
Okay, all right.
This is kind of their justification because we have
I
these
think it's
influences.
somewhat of a step. That's kind of nice.
It's bull.
You don't like it at all?
You don't like it?
I think it.
Odie likes it. Mike does not like it.
It's not.
Do you like it?
I'm probably indifferent because my kids are so much older. I'm indifferent.
Well,
it does
that's what I'm
not
saying.
passionately make me excited
most
either
of
way.
my kids are grown too, but to me it seems sort of like just a kind of okay, we'll play along, because how many accounts do you have on Facebook?
Well, I only have one master account, but I have like 18 different stuff that I have for different.
So
the show,
if I'm a 16-year-old,
you just open a new email address.
I have my Snapchat that has my parental control on it, and then I have my real Snapchat.
I mean, okay, I see what you're saying.
You're pretty clever there, Mr. Corday.
I'm not clever.
No, that's just
this
what
is not
it is.
clever.
Okay.
This is just normal stuff. This is the same thing we did when we were little. We didn't have this stuff.
I just went
Where
over
are you
to.
going?
I'm
going to go hang out. I'm going to go hang out with Johnny, who my parents like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you go over to Barry's house.
Yeah, I know.
Who, like,
that's really cool.
has alcohol.
He's got MTV and he's got
That's right.
video games. Way cooler kid to hang out
It's
with.
the same stuff.
Okay.
It's just different. It's just that human behavior doesn't change.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to
just
see where it
looks
ends
different.
up. We're gonna see where it ends up.
Yeah, we'll see how it ends up.
I like the idea, though.
Okay, good.
I'm there for it.
You're there for it. All right. Story number 3. We're going to
gives
get
you
rid of story
happiness.
number 4. Story number 4 will be an after part. Story number 4 is the world's clearest UFO photo revealed after 30 years. You'll have to get that offline on that because we're going to go to the next one, which is story number 3. Elon Musk sells $6.9 billion of Tesla shares as Twitter lawsuit looms. The Tesla boss Elon Musk has sold another 7.92 million shares of the electric car maker, worth about $6.88 billion. The sale took place over the firm's annual shareholders meeting last week. Regulatory filings show Mr. Musk said that he needs to have the money in case he's forced to buy Twitter for $44 billion. The multi-billionaire is currently embattled into a legal issue with the social media platform after saying last month he would pull out of the deal to purchase it. The transactions have carried out on the 5th, 8th, and 9th of August, according to the 6 filings by the U.S. Security Exchange. It seems like Elon Musk is preparing to purchase Twitter. What do you think about that?
It must kind of suck when you're a billionaire and then you say you're going to buy something and then somebody holds you to it to the point that you have to go to court.
So then,
Like, hey, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy that jacket from you. Okay, but if you don't buy it, I'm going to take you to court.
That's what happens when you have billions of dollars.
Yeah, I guess
it's a completely different playground to play.
So, do you think there's something in the offing here?
So I think he's going to do this. This is what I think. We talked about this a little bit. I think he's hoping that a ruling comes on down, and he's going to say, well, I don't want to buy it because of all these bots and all this stuff that I did. And they're going to make a difference in price, and he's going to probably save $5 billion, $8 billion, because it's going to be a stock price value of within the last 90 days of when they make their decision, and then he's going to get it at a discounted price.
Sort of like when I sell my house and I want to sell it for this much money, and the tax assessor comes along and says this is worth this much, then I have to.
Then the person that wants to buy the house can't get the loan because it's only that. Yeah. All right. Well, up next we have our Ask the Expert segment with Denis O'Shea, the founder of Mobile Mentor in New Zealand in 2004. Since then, the company has moved to Nashville, Tennessee in 2017. He's a focus on securing mobile workforce in industrial areas such as healthcare, education, finance, and government services. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's happening?
Did you know for every $1 spent on email marketing, you receive $36 in return? That's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
But it's all so complicated. All those advanced tools and features, you don't know how to approach them at all.
What if there was an email marketing platform where you don't have to rack your brains to get started? A tool that's not overloaded with unnecessary features you don't want to pay for, and, believe it or not, has a support team available 24/7, even on the free plan.
There is a solution, Mike. Let me introduce you to Sellzy, a tool that makes email marketing as easy as 1, 2, 3. With Sellzy, you can launch your first campaign in 15 minutes. No coding required. A very easy to use, intuitive email builder with over 300,000 gifts and stickers to choose from, and 500,000 plus free stock images, a customizable countdown timer, and more. Create emails for any business goal, from e-commerce to nonprofits. Easily create automated email sequences for your business.
Get 24/7 support via chat, email, and phone, even on the free plan. Sellzy has just launched a special deal. You can now get a lifetime access to all Sellzy features for just $49. All the core features, unlimited emails, automation, segmentation, advanced analytics for the price of 10 lattes.
Sellzy is the easiest way to start selling with emails. Try it now. Click the link in this episode description on TechTime Radio to get that special deal.
No commissions or hidden fees.
To learn more information, visit them at the simple and easy site to remember. Just go and visit Sellzy.com. That's SELZY.com. The easiest way to send emails.
Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Tech Time Radio is an hour technology show that talks about current technology in a simple format without having to geek out. Mike and I just had our first whiskey tasting, and we are tasting today the Wilderness Trail Wheated Single Barrel Family Reserve. That's a big, big title. Mm-hmm. This is a private barrel pick, $69, 115th proof. Mm-hmm. And what do you think of it so far?
It tastes good. It's got a really sharp bite to it.
It kind of lingers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, well, here's what we got. This is one of the highest ratios of wheat used in bourbon made in Kentucky. It enters the Copper Select Toasted and the number 4 char barreled at 110 proof after coming off the still at 137 proof. Mm-hmm. All of their whiskeys are aged and matured on their 160-acre campus that includes 6 rickhouses. They have more than 1,000 barrels aging. 100,000. Sorry, they have more than 100,000 barrels aging on site. Sipping this, you get the taste of that buttered corn. You get caramel and a slight spice.
Buttered corn, huh?
Yeah.
How do they get that? How does somebody go? We need to make this taste like buttered corn.
I don't know. What does buttered corn taste like? Does corn really have a taste?
I don't know. It's like chicken.
It's the kind of okay. Well,
maybe they throw buttered corn into the mix.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, maybe.
How would you have buttered corn and then it's going to get mashed down and then you're just letting it sit there?
They just put butter in the bash.
All right. This is an enjoyable sweet oakiness while finishing with dried fruits, orange peel, and vanilla.
Yeah, which is kind of funny actually because this is the biggest wheat mash.
That we've had,
the
right?
Buttered corn.
The buttered corn is in there. Well, this is, as we talk about it, the mash bill
is highest ratios of wheat, but it tastes like buttered corn.
It does. Okay, 64% corn, 24% wheat, and 12% malted barley. Again, this is $69.99 for the 750 milliliter bottle, the same one that we have here. Its classification is straight bourbon, and it's aged at least 4 years.
I want one that tastes like buttered popcorn.
Well, buttered popcorn?
Well, why not that?
They do have ones that taste like
peanut butter.
Peanut butter, and they also have a couple other new flavors that are coming out. Cotton candy is the new one that's coming on out in whiskey.
Oh, we'll have to try that.
We're going to have to try that. There's a company in our local area that is doing that. So that's fantastic. All right, well, now let's move.
We better move on.
That's right.
We're getting signaled. But
we have a technology expert that has joined our show. Denis O'Shea joins our show, and he's going to be talking to us about password hygiene and what it takes to go passwordless on your home and work computers. He'll be joining us on our EE Services video stream to start our next segment.
This is a segment we call Ask the Experts.
All right. We're getting Denis O'Shea coming on up. He's the founder of Mobile Mentor in New Zealand in 2004 and 2017. He moved his company to Nashville, Tennessee, focusing on the secure mobile workforce in industries such as healthcare, education, finance, and government services. Denis, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nathan. I've got whiskey envy listening to the previous segment.
You know what? This whiskey's pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Yes, I do. But I'll probably give it a thumbs up. This has nice bite for the $69 price point. It's pretty good. All right. Well, tell us a little bit. Welcome to the show. We had our off interview. So everybody I put on our show, we always do an off interview. So I get to know the person and know what they're talking about. And we had a great conversation. So Denis, explain a little bit about your background in technology to our listening audience.
Sure. So I guess you could break my career into 2 parts. The first part was making technology. I used to work for Nokia in Finland and Switzerland and New Zealand, building technology. And then the second half of my career has really been helping people adopt technology. And that's been a fascinating journey because, as you probably know, technology raced ahead of people in many industries. And I could see that happening in the cellular industry around 2003. And so I set up this company, Mobile Mentor, with a single purpose mission. It was help people really set up and get value from their first smartphone. And you might recall back then, setting up a smartphone was a very difficult.
It was.
Process.
The email client was horrible to get it, so that it was not easy. Now
I skipped that.
Now you just get this email that has everything built into it. You had to put your POP3, your IMAP servers, your address. You had to have your logins, SMTP servers that would do that. Then on top of that, you'd have to do your browsers. And sometimes if they were on a corporate network, they had to do proxy. Oh, yeah. That was a pain. I hated them.
I went from pagers to flip phones.
Did you ever have a BlackBerry?
No. I skipped BlackBerry.
Oh, that was the best. If I could get a BlackBerry device with a tactical keyboard again. Oh, those were the best. All right, well, okay, so the mobile industry, so you kind of like set up cell phones for people, kind of high net worth people and individuals for businesses, correct?
So we went out and we helped people get all that working and brought the funky cables you needed to transfer your contacts from your old phone to your new phone. And we literally did that for 1 million people around the world.
All right, that's fantastic.
We learned a lot about what helps people with technology, what hinders them, and a lot of what we do now is what secures people. Help people be secure on all their devices.
All right, perfect.
Tech, but laptops and everything.
Speaking of security.
I'm secure when it works.
Well, here we got here. So we're going to talk about a little bit about hygiene. Some of us have better hygiene than others in the studio.
Yeah, you should know.
But can you explain to us specifically what password hygiene is? This is something that we talked about. What is password hygiene in for our listening audience?
Sure. I guess password hygiene is really two things. It's one, how good we are in creating passwords that are secure. And then secondly, how we save or store or manage our passwords. And the reality is most people today have way too many passwords. And I think in society, people have reached this point of password fatigue. Everyone's just
That's a good way of putting it.
All the passwords they have. Yeah, we're just sick and tired of it. And we know now from research we've done and research done by other people that about 15% of people base their password on their pet's name.
On their pet's name?
When you think their pet's name, which is crazy when you think about the fact that people often share their pet's name on social media. And their birth date might also be in social media. So for many people, you take their pet's name and combine it with their date of birth or something as a street name, you've probably got a damn good chance of figuring out one of their passwords. And if you figure out one, you may get others.
Does that surprise you?
That does not. So my password's pretty secure. I have a capital letter to start out my password. It's capital P. ASSWORD 123 exclamation point. And I get through every single one of the criteria to have a password. But I guess that wouldn't be very good hygiene, would it?
Well, about 6% of people in the UK today, I know this would never happen in the US, but 6% of people in the UK use the word password as their password. Wow. So this is real.
Yeah, this is
very real.
I have one of my devices where I use a similar word system.
Really?
Yes, but it's not anything accessible.
So what's a good way? Okay, so since we have our pets, what's a good way for if we're talking about password hygiene? What's Dennis? What is your way to talk about getting good hygiene for a password? What would you suggest?
Well, firstly, it's being systematic about it. And what we like to see is people either using a password management tool of some sort, if you're on your own, or if you're part of a company, using some sort of a password management system or tool. Many products out there. And if I mention a couple, there's LastPass and OnePass and a few others like that. They don't cost much. They've all got a free version. And the idea is that you have one master password. And I like to think of that as being a whole sentence. So it might be a sentence with 6 or 7 words, maybe a number or 2 in there. Okay. And that becomes a really strong password. And you don't have to change that. And that takes you into the password management tool. Once you're in there, you can have hundreds of accounts with all unique passwords, which are generated by the tool. So they're really strong, complex with numbers and characters and all that. And that then takes away the burden from our brains because, we're not walking databases. We can't manage all these passwords that have to be unique and have characters and numbers and all that. So we let the technology do it for us. But what we know now from our research is that only about 30% of people use a password management tool.
Wow.
And the harsh reality, only 30%. And we know that here in the US, from recent research, about 30% of people write their work passwords in a personal journal. So they're written down like in a notebook. Yep. And then about 25% of people have their work passwords in a personal app on their phone. And then about another 20% of people stick them in an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document that's on Dropbox or somewhere like that. So as a society, we're fatigued with passwords. We've got too many, and we're getting lazy in how we create new passwords. And we're also careless in how we save and store and manage our passwords. And we're clustering them. We're using more or less the same password for, say, our streaming accounts and the same password for all our social accounts or finance accounts. And so we're putting ourselves in harm's way with our poor password management.
All right, so now let's talk about going to passwordless, right? This is something
now I have to go back and do all my
you should never ever have your passwords that you have at work be related to anything that you have.
They aren't. My passwords at work are totally different from my
at least I sectionalize my work passwords with a certain algorithm type of deal, and then I do.
But I have been known to write my passwords down on notepads.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, that's not like the worst thing. If you have the worst thing to do is to have an Excel spreadsheet on any computer, electronic devices that says password. Because then if someone hacks into your machine, they can just steal your Excel spreadsheet.
Well, yeah, but
people do that all the time.
I know. I know. Well, I told you we human behavior doesn't change. This is all. What he's saying is all just non-surprising at all.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about passwordless here, Dennis. So you guys are passionate about this in your work field. Tell us what you do to actually enable passwordless logins.
Well, let me explain what it is first, because I'm sure you've got listeners who are thinking, how on earth could you be passwordless? I know that was my reaction when I heard about it for the first time a few years ago. And the best way to explain it is to think about your experience. If you've got an iPhone and you've got Face ID turned on, the experience is already passwordless. You pick up the device, it scans your face. It takes about 300,000 data points from your face, and it recognizes, this is Nathan.
Yep.
And it allows you to sign into the iOS operating system. And then if you have trusted apps on the device that you downloaded from Apple or the App Store, or they're trusted in some way, then you can have single sign-on. So that initial sign-on to the operating system also signs you into those apps. And then you might have a third step where you need to log into something like a banking application or some other commercial website. And then you might be prompted for a 6-digit code. And that's two-factor authentication. So when we join the dots and think about those three things together, you had a biometric authentication event that scanned your face, or it may have been your thumbprint on an Android device or whatever. Then single sign-on to apps that are trusted. And then two-factor authentication to say, is it really Nathan trying to log into this bank account? And let's make sure that you're the person that has the device that's trying to do this, and blah, blah, blah. So those three things are essentially the keys to unlocking passwordless authentication. So we have it on our iPhones. We probably have it on our tablets. The last step in the journey for most people is to get that enabled at work, so they can do that on their Windows machine or their Macs, and essentially be passwordless on all their devices, and trusting the technology to do this with our biometrics, and reducing eventually down to one password, and then eventually none. And the future I envision, and it's already enabled through Microsoft technology, is that somebody joins a company, and on day one, your boss might say, your access code is 4752, and it's valid for 4 hours. And you use that to do biometric scans into your device, verify your identity, do some setup and all that. And from then on, you're passwordless. You no longer need to manage these 97 passwords all over the place. You've got a fully passwordless experience.
It's very attractive.
It's very attractive. You have a Surface in front of you. Have you enabled your Windows Hello on your Surface there, Mr. Gwen?
Yeah.
So that just, when you log into that takes a picture of your face, kind of
when the camera works.
The camera works when the camera's on, and you don't have it protected. It actually scans you and then knows who you are.
Well, I was laughing earlier because I have an iPhone that I use for work.
Yeah.
And it has a Face ID.
Yeah.
But anytime I need it.
Yeah,
I put the face in, and then I still have to put in the
pin.
Does it come up with a little thing saying?
Either because I haven't used it in enough time or something.
You probably have to reset it. You have to reset the camera.
It's always asking me to put in the stupid code.
All right, so let me talk a little bit about the generation future here. So we have a lot of Gen Z employees in TechTime Radio. We do. We probably half of our staff is Gen Z.
Yeah, they're younger people.
Yeah, younger people. Essentially, Gen Z is considered when you're born between 1997 and 2012. Essentially, it could be 25 years or younger. But Dennis, you actually are spending a lot of time in technology looking at Gen Z predictions of future technology and how that workplace and environment set up. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Sure. So we did a nationwide study to understand how different generations and how different people are responding to the pandemic and working in this kind of new modern hybrid configuration. And Gen Z was really fascinating for a couple of reasons. And one of the underlying things we need to understand about Gen Z is they're the first generation to arrive in the workplace with no recollection of 9/11.
And that's true. We were talking about that.
We were just talking about
last
night.
Last night we talked about it. A documentary came out, and one of our Gen Z individuals was like, I didn't even understand what 9/11 was like. And we're like, What?
Yeah.
And it was like a big
go.
age difference there. Yeah, it was like crazy.
And so they're wired differently because of that. And everybody else remembers exactly where you were, what you were doing, who you were with on the day of 9/11. And then over the next 20 years, you were impacted by homeland security, airport security, cybersecurity. Security just weighed upon us in a very heavy way. And we all carried this gravity of security for the next 20 years, except Gen Z. They were running around the kitchen in nappies when it happened, and they kind of missed all that. So now they've arrived in the workforce. They arrived during a pandemic without understanding security the way all the older generations did.
Okay.
And when companies are trying to talk to them about security policies and security measures, they don't get it. It goes over their head. They care about different things. They care deeply about privacy.
Okay.
But they don't care so much about security.
All right. So how do you make this change? How do you work with them to get them so that they can take that seriously, or do we just need to readopt how we think?
No, what we need to do is reframe the message.
Okay.
And instead of banging on about corporate security or cybersecurity initiatives, we need to make it one of privacy and say, hey, Nathan, the work we're doing, the policy we're rolling out is to protect your information. We want to make sure that your personal details never get leaked. We want to make sure your social number, your salary, all that doesn't get sold on the dark web. So we want to protect you and your colleagues, and by extension, our patients, our customers, our citizens, our students. And when we frame it like that as a message of privacy, we get people's attention in a completely different way to talking about an abstract security initiative.
Gotcha. All right, Denis, how can people find out more information about you and get in touch with you?
Sure. The company's name is Mobile Mentor, and we specialize in getting that balance between security and privacy, essentially making security invisible for the modern workforce.
All right.
And so you can find us at mobile-mentor.com. Mobile-mentor.
We're going to have you back on the show, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the upcoming challenges with some password items also. So thank you very much, Denis, for being a part of the show today. That ends our segment, Ask the Expert. Up next, we have our This Week in Technology. So it would be a great time now to enjoy a little whiskey on the side. I'm your host, Nathan Mumm. We'll see you after this break.
Hey, Mike.
What?
Have you heard of elderberry?
Only in reference to a Monty Python movie.
Well, let me tell you, Elderberry Boost. Again, that's elderberry-boost.com.
Elderberry Boost.
Yes, Mike, that's Elderberry Boost.
You can choose organic Elderberry Boost, that 8-ounce size that's available on sale right now at $11.99. But you're listening here right now on TechTime Radio, so you need to go to Elderberry, that's ELDERBERRY-boost.com, and get some today.
Elderberry Boost.
Elderberry is an all-natural organic immune system booster and antiviral. Elderberry is known to actively fight against viruses, including colds and the flu. It also works as a natural remedy for allergies, cancer, digestion, heart disease, high cholesterol, headache, toothache, weight loss, and reduced inflammation.
It's a natural and healthy diuretic and has many antiviral properties. While it is famous for fighting the flu, it is effective for any illness.
Elderberry Boost was created to provide a quality organic elderberry to their customers. After searching years ago for a perfect elderberry syrup, none could be found, so they essentially created their own homemade recipe.
If you would like to get 15% off your first order of Elderberry Boost, just put in the discount code TechTime at checkout.
Again, that's elderberry-boost.com.
Elderberry Boost.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my life's work is connecting people with coffee. StoriCoffee is a small batch specialty coffee company that uses technology to connect people to each product resource, which allows farmers to unlock their economic freedom. Try our Medium Roast Founder Series coffee, which is an exotic bourbon variety that is smooth, fresh, and elegant at StoriCoffee.com. That's STORI coffee.com. Today you can get your first bag free when you subscribe at StoriCoffee.com with code TechTime. That's STORI coffee.com.
And now, let's look back at this week in technology.
All right, we're going back to August 14th, 2006. Dell and Sony admit that they have flaws in the Sony manufactured batteries that were put into certain Dell laptops that could result in batteries overheating, catching fire, or exploding. They recalled over 4.1 million batteries, the largest computer recall in history. This came after several publicized reports, and in the preceding months, Dell laptops did catch on fire. The recalled covered the 4M Dell laptop sold between April 2004 and July of 2006. Batteries made by the arm of the Japanese electronic giant Sony created the safety problems after a high-profile case featuring a video clip showed how a laptop bursted into flames during a conference in Japan on video was seen by millions of people on the internet. Other tales of suspicious overheating began to emerge. That was This Week in Technology. Have you ever wanted to watch some Tech Time history? With over 2 years of videos, podcasts, and blog information, you can visit us at techtimeradio.com to watch our older shows or join our Tech Timers Facebook group. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we have Gwen Way with a new item on our gadgets and gear. We'll see you after this.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's happening?
Did you know for every $1 spent on email marketing, you receive $36 in return? That's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
But it's all so complicated. All those advanced tools and features, you don't know how to approach them at all.
What if there was an email marketing platform where you don't have to rack your brains to get started? A tool that's not overloaded with unnecessary features you don't want to pay for, and, believe it or not, has a support team available 24/7, even on the free plan.
There is a solution, Mike. Let me introduce you to Sellzy, a tool that makes email marketing as easy as 1, 2, 3. With Sellzy, you can launch your first campaign in 15 minutes. No coding required. A very easy to use, intuitive email builder with over 300,000 gifts and stickers to choose from, and 500,000 plus free stock images, a customizable countdown timer, and more. Create emails for any business goal, from e-commerce to nonprofits. Easily create automated email sequences for your business.
Get 24/7 support via chat, email, and phone, even on the free plan. Sellzy has just launched a special deal. You can now get a lifetime access to all Sellzy features for just $49. All the core features, unlimited emails, automation, segmentation, advanced analytics for the price of 10 lattes.
Sellzy is the easiest way to start selling with emails. Try it now. Click the link in this episode description on Tech Time Radio to get that special deal.
No commissions or hidden fees.
To learn more information, visit them at the simple and easy site to remember. Just go and visit Sellzy.com. That's SELZY.com. The easiest way to send emails.
And now for Marc's Mumbles! All right, we're talking about the Wilderness Trail Weeded Single Barrel Family Reserve, the private barrel pick, $69.99, 115 proof. Now, Marc has a couple comments to say. He says this was a special private barrel picked from Bevmo. I have no idea what Bevmo is, but maybe that's some special app or something.
No, that's a store.
Oh, is it a store?
It's a store like Wine and More.
Okay, well, I like my wine and more. So, okay. So it is at barrel strength rather than traditional 100 proof. The extra proof provides a bolder and brighter taste. It is recommended to go for that special store barrel pick on all whiskeys over the standard offering if given a chance. Marc enjoys this bourbon as there's a little of everything on the palate and stands up to many of the other big boys wheat distilleries. Marc gives us a thumbs up. All right, we'll see if it gives us a thumbs up. At the end,
a thumbs up.
I just had the thumbs up. Blah, blah, blah. All right, well, we're going to move right now to our producer and gadget extraordinaire, Gwen Way.
What's new in our gadgets and gear?
All right, Gwen, thank you for hanging on. Oh, we went a little, I know. I'm going to get in trouble on my review. We went a little long here, but we're going to have to get right to our gadget. What is the gadget we're talking about today so we can talk about that before the music plays itself out?
Well, we will jump right into it. It is something called the Shargeek Capsule Gravity.
Okay.
If you remember correctly, my very first gadgets and gear over a year ago was for a battery pack from a company called Storm 2.
Yes. My wife's still waiting for that to come.
Exactly. We waited quite a while, but once it did come, it was brilliant.
Okay, great.
So the same manufacturer is back, and they're doing something called the Capsule Gravity.
Okay.
What it is in addition to a power bank, it's also a clock and a timer. It's set up so that you can flip it over and do a countdown from anywhere from 5 minutes up to an hour.
Okay.
It also is set up as a Pomodoro timer. I don't know if you have any experience with it, but basically what it is a way of organizing your work. You set yourself a task, give yourself 25 minutes to work on it, and then have a 5-minute break and then do it again.
And you kind of flip this thing up and down, don't you?
So it's like a portable egg timer.
Yeah.
It's brightly colored, which is always fun.
And you can see through it, right? So it's really got kind of that steampunk type of deal. You can see through it and see all the gadgets inside of it. Hey, now, that's pretty cool. Steampunk was a thing. All right.
This is about productivity, right?
This is about productivity. And it has a bank that you can actually charge laptops with, it says.
Exactly. You can charge your phone up to one time. You can charge about half a charge on your standard MacBook. It's using the same charging technology as the Storm 2.
Okay.
So it's a very rapid charge. And it's got a little bit of everything.
Now, how can we find this? And how much does it cost? And how many people have backed it?
So the easiest way to find it is to just go to Kickstarter.com and search for SharGeek. That's SHARGEEK.
Okay.
Right now, it's sitting with about 1,700 backers. It's good to go until September 19th. And the cost, if you get in on it early, is only $29. So
$29 to be productive.
Yeah.
With a little clock.
I say jump on that and get it purchased.
All right. My wife is going to probably. So again, it is SHAR Geek Capsule Gravity on Kickstarter. Go and get that today. And honey, only buy 4 of them, please. Not too many for that. All right.
They're amazing. Nathan's wife, buy as many as you want.
Okay. There you go. Thank you so much, Gwen. We will see you in a couple weeks when we have our next gadgeting gear. All right. We're going to move now right into Mike's Mesmerizing Moment.
This is Mike's Mesmerizing Moment, presented by StoriCoffee. Visit StoriCoffee.com.
All right. What's a good way to boost productivity there, Mike?
Aside from using a portable egg timer?
Yeah.
This is talked about quite a bit in things. Technology is supposed to make our life easier, but it often complicates things.
It does.
One of the things that we have to get rid of is this idea of multitasking. Multitasking does not exist. It's not possible. Our brains do not work this way. We focus on one thing for a time span, then we take a break, like she suggested with the timer.
Okay.
I don't know about using a timer, but that's one way of boosting production is to forget about multitasking. Multitasking basically means I'm spreading my attention through several different avenues of productivity.
So if I'm driving home and I'm talking to somebody, is that multitasking?
That's dangerous, actually.
Okay, never mind. I don't do that then. Okay, never mind. Okay.
So we do it all the time.
We do it all the time, right?
Anything that's taking your attention away from everything else, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying this because I tend to do this too, underscores the lack of productivity that we have because our attention is spread out into different areas. So another way of boosting productivity is sort of like eating your vegetables when you were a kid.
Yeah.
You should eat those first and then enjoy the things that you enjoy or the small tasks. So if you have big tasks, do those when you are most prepared to do them. Okay. A lot of people tend to save those up for the end of the day and then they get pushed off because they're too tired or you have so many things that are getting your attention. So those are 2 ways of boosting your productivity. Neither one of those, you need to have a timer.
Would you recommend it if you're a company or workplace to put your phone in a basket when you come on in there and then you didn't have to look at your phone until later?
Would I recommend that?
Yeah.
From the aspect of management, maybe. From the aspect of being a person managed, no, not at all.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Well, let's get ready for our pick here. We have the Wilderness Trail Weeded Single Barrel Family Reserve. Do you give it a thumbs up or thumbs down?
I like this. It's a thumbs up for me.
Thumbs up for me. Odie?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay, perfect.
She almost ripped
She's like, hey, you got to get going. All right. Well, for all of our listeners, we thank you so much for being a part of the show. Always remember, the science of tomorrow starts with the technology of today.
Yeah. Okay.
You ready
Bye-bye.
to have a good week?
Hey, you said it before I did.
Thanks for joining us on TechTime Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at TechTime Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.